Welcome to my On the Road. Today we're looking at the new GoPro Hero 9. Okay, I'm Andrew Ledford. Yes, we are back here in the Puente Hills. We're at the regional park. I am here today to test out a couple different settings on my new GoPro. We are on linear, horizontal leveling, hyper smooth. This is the first one we're going to test. And we're going to take a little walk around. As I drove by, I thought we'd see cherry blossoms and umi blossoms today, but it looks like they are not blooming, or we're a little too late. This is February, so they could have bloomed earlier here in California than they would in Japan. So let's take a little walk, see what we have. What I really wanted to do is to see how the stabilization is when walking quite quickly, because that is generally what I do. I generally have a pretty brisk pace as I'm going along talking. Today I could make it smoother by being more careful, or by carefully walking instead of just trekking along at my normal pace. But then I would not get a good reading as far as the settings on the camera. I believe we're going to go and look at the horses, go by the equestrian center first. But here are the cherry trees and the umi trees. I believe they were planted here as a sister park program in 1992. They don't look like they're doing too well, do they? Let's see what we have here. A couple tiny blossoms. Can we see those? Yeah, let me do this. Okay, we turned it back on. So we do have some blossoms. It looks like I may need to get out here, but it looks like most of them are dead. See that one there? Just a couple little buds here that we can see. So it looks like I got here too late this year, and some of the trees are not doing too well. Huh. Yeah, it looks like they're not taking care of them as well as they used to. There used to be a guy that would come out here. He'd drive a considerable ways to care for these trees, and perhaps he is no longer around. Here's a nice little bloom. You can see that. I think that you can see it. I'm not so sure what the focal distance on this camera is. I don't think you can get too terribly close though. Well, and here's some more. So there's a few left. And then we have this nice riparian woodland down here. Today I am here really looking for a specific plant, and it will look something like this. I'm not sure if that's it though. I don't think so. But there are several of those around. That's not what I'm looking for, but it will look similar to that. And you can see there's a lot of these are growing here. I believe those are wild radishes, and the last ones we saw there. This is a pretty good place to go bird watching. There goes a bird. This is not quite, this is maybe even a little bit more movement than usual because I'm going over some kind of rough terrain instead of down the sidewalk. Okay, we're going to be turning the camera off and going, and I believe there's a hyper smooth boost we're going to try. Okay, the last time we were on hyper smooth on, now we're going to be on hyper smooth high, and then we're going to try boost. So let's take a look. We're going to cruise up here by the horses, see what they have, who's out, see what kind of horses are out here. And then we're going to go up on to the hill here where I think we may find some of those plants, actually up a ways. Oh. You know what? I forgot my mask. It looks like we're going to need to go back. So we will get to see what this hyper smooth looks like going both ways. Very seldom do I forget to put my mask on. As I was walking towards those people, it's like, wait a minute. I'm like one of those anti-maskers, which I am not. But you get out here where there's no, or very few people, it's like, hey, free to breathe without a mask. And because I'm not on the road, I'm pretty much away from people, but a really good place to test the stabilization on this camera. What really made me think about the mask was I was going to go up and give a business card to that lady with the dog. It's like, wait, I can't get that close. Okay, back up to the cherry trees and the umi trees. It's really sad to see the shape some of these trees are in. Really sad. And they're still alive, but for some reason they just don't look like they're doing very well. We'll come back here and see how they're doing in a month or so, maybe sooner. I plan on visiting this park quite a bit in the coming months, especially if I find those plants I'm looking for, because I'm going to want to watch them grow and flower, which should be probably, well, they might be flowering now, but probably next month. Okay, now we get to see this on a more flat surface. I think I'll also take my jacket off as long as I'm at the car. I get up kind of early in the morning, so when I get up so early it's cold. Put on a jacket, I get out like this, start walking, do a little something, and then I heat right up. Think, who would wear a jacket on a day like this? Okay, I'm back. Now we're headed, oh, you know what? I need to change this to boost though. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. So now we are on the 4K 30 frames per second hyper smooth boost, and I have my mask on. Okay, let's head on down here, see what we have. Oh, this camera mount works its way loose quite frequently, so probably going to end up getting a different tripod to use this on. Okay, we're going to head back through the umi and cherry blossom trees, or cherry trees. You can see they've been cutting a lot of these down, so I imagine that they just were not doing well. In fact, maybe what, 25% have been cut out? The nice thing about when I did this before, not having a mask, my glasses don't get fogged up. The glass tends to fog up the glasses. Here we have a cute looking poodle type dog, poodle doodle. Well, this is linear horizontal leveling with hyper smooth boost. I lost my screen. I need to see if I can change that in the settings. We're up to the horses, at least the corrals and stables. Okay, we're at the corral here, and the stables are up this way. We'll go up there, take a little look at the horses, and then get onto the trail. The trail we're headed to is the Juan Batista de Anza. Not exactly how he came through California, but close enough, and designated as such. So you can see the arena here. And then up here we have the stables. They usually have a few horses out. I had a girlfriend who did not like how horses smelled. Smells like horses. But lived in a location close to where I grew up, where lots of people have horses. She did not like that. Here we go. I don't know if you can see him. But we have a few horses in here. And you have to tell people don't feed them. Don't want somebody giving them something to be not good. Okay, well that's the horses. We're now headed up the trail. Let's see what this little map says up here. One thing about trails in the city, there's all kinds of directions. He was a famous politician here. Played for the 49ers, played football. And this is the Skyline Trail Extension Connector. Gives a little information about being safe here. And then we come over here and it shows the trail itself. We're here and it goes down quite a ways. And on the Juan Batista Anza trail map, although it was about 10 miles, the original trail, about 10 miles that way. Yeah, this way, right over here. And we do have a few things to watch out for. Rattlesnake season, you want to watch for snakes. There's quite a few of them in here. Mountain lions, I've never seen lions in here or lion tracks. But there could be. I know further up the trail up this way, a couple hills over, there are lions. So it wouldn't surprise me if they come down here sometimes. When I was much younger, I used to run cross country in the desert. Just for the heck of it, I would track deer in the washes as I would run to see if I could stay on their track at a jog. And I was always worried those mountain lions, there were mountain lions there, but some mountain lion would just be laying in wait as I would pass one of those big ironwood trees or manzanita, or no, a mesquite. They didn't have manzanita there. So we're looking for a little crown of leaves with a tiny spike coming out of it. And I would imagine that it may be growing in this type of terrain. It will look a little like this. But these are not it. I don't think. No. Do not think so. Here's the oak trees. It's a nice old oak. But again, these trees, if you're doing any land development, a lot of places in California, the oak trees will give you all kinds of problems with the government regulations. this little bird, very brave. I know the flowers I'm looking for, they have been spotted in these hills about 5 miles that way. But I was hoping we could find some here. Mainly because it's easy to access. I plan on being in here more later on in the year. I don't think they'd be down there, but never can tell. And there's a pretty butterfly. Don't know if you can see that. There it is. I think I'm going to change this to the hyperlapse, and we'll see how that works going up here. Okay, we came to another map, and it even shows where we're at. No need to carry topo maps with you anymore, or even your cell phone. You have a nice little map drawn here with the topography. Let's go. Let's see what's up there. Here it is. It's a little bit steeper than the other one. And we have squirrels in here. This will give me a chance to see how this does with lower light. Looks like somebody's used this for a restroom. It's probably not the best place. Somebody's been through here recently. You can see right there. Actually looks like they were coming down this way, not going up. Okay, we might not continue this way. Looks like this is the place that collects human feces. We'll continue for a little ways. We're going to get out of the drainage here. Usually the further you go, the fewer traces of people you find. Might have to take my mask off. Well, this looks like it is used more by game than humans. Great place. I'd love crawling through there 30 years ago. Now I'm not too enthused about it. But we are going to take a look up here at something that is maybe of interest. And that is these flowers right here. Let's see. Yes. They're pretty, aren't they? Okay, we're gonna head on back. Head on back to the restroom. But it does go up and around. You know, you can go around the little game trail here. Oh yeah, I didn't know if I mentioned this, but this is probably the time of year when you're getting ticks out. I usually dress much differently when I am here. Let me grab my sunglasses. We're going to have a shaky camera for a while there. I usually like wearing a oilskin, Australian oilskin hat when I'm out trekking through the bush during tick season, because they seem to not like that oilskin. Again, had another girlfriend, not the one who didn't like horses, different one, who didn't like oilskin. She didn't like my oilskin jacket or hat. Okay, well that was seeing those flowers was a worthwhile little trip. But didn't find the ones we're looking for. We are back to the sign. I'm going to set this back onto the time warp. Be right back. Here's a good example of the type of topography we have here, the type of rock geology. And you can see the uplifting. Always find that interesting. Pushed up by the earth, by Mother Nature. This used to all be part of a shallow lake or shallow sea. Okay, we're going back to time warp. Okay, now I am on narrow view, hyper smooth boost, 4K 30 frames per second. We're headed back. I'll switch to the what is it called, time warp on the way back. Probably just a few steps down to the next oak tree probably. But let's head on back. Okay, up here at this shady area, we're switching back to the hyper mode. Looking at, so they're trying to get a plant to grow here. I don't know if they're going to have too much success. They do have a water line in there. Good morning.
Hi, good morning.
And again, I'm scanning the side for that particular flower. They'll be easier to see in a month if they're here. Don't even know if they're here. But again, out here testing the settings on the new GoPro, as well as looking for a native California flower. Okay, I'll be back switching over to hyperdrive. Okay, I have switched over to the wide hyper smooth boost. On this leg of the little trip today. I'm going to only be holding with one hand. I have been holding with two hands because I've heard that that's better. But I wanted to stop here because we can see that there used to be telephone poles here. So I imagine a line went through here, at least electric at one time. And there are a couple of roads up here that you can see as well. So I have not ever been up there. I think that that will be a good trip to take the high road or the middle road and high road someday. Okay, we're going to just move along here a little bit at a normal pace. We are going downhill, which may make a difference too, as far as how shaky it is. And for some reason, I tend to go downhill a little slower than uphill. I don't know why that is. It seems like I've always done that. I race up and saunter on down, unless I was running. I used to run hills. Then that was a different story. I think I'm going to let these ladies get a little bit further ahead, so we're not following them. I hear some people coming up behind. This is a popular little trail, especially I think because of COVID. One of the places you can get out and away from the house for a while. I look for a little spot to pull off to the side. We're coming up to that little trail with the red flowers. I think we're coming down to where one of the high roads comes into the main trail here. We may go up there for just 10 feet or so. Oh, more than 10 feet, a little ways. This is called the extension trail. They're all extension trails. You can see kind of a lot of people. And then this is one of those high roads I was telling you about. Now we are going uphill. Vintage barrel filled with concrete, and I don't know if that was used as a hitching post at one time or just to keep people on the trail. Help cut down on erosion or hitching posts for the trail. And we are doing this one-handed this time. And here's a little trail that goes up to the very top one, and it goes up to the very top of the mountain. Probably goes down the other side. There's a sign up there. I bet there'd be some great views up there. We're not going up there today. But I did want to come up here to this little bench. It looks like a bench. It levels off. To get a nice view of the trail down there. You can see it. Then it goes in between those oak trees. Okay, so that's it for this part. headed on back. Here we're going down kind of a little rough spot. Another telephone pole over here. Okay, that's it. We're going to be headed back. I'm going to put it in hyperdrive again, warp mode hyperdrive on the way back until we get to something else to chat about. Okay, I wanted to test this out in the shade. We do have some wonderful oak trees, 3 large oak trees. So I just wanted to take a look at them, see how this hyper smooth boost in narrow mode works to capture the trees as I walk down kind of this gully in the road. I didn't mean to do that. I was looking at the trees. But those are the sort of things that happen all the time when I'm out, is I am working on a project and I'm paying attention and focusing on some novel object or some object of historic significance or just something that interests me. And sometimes I'm not paying as much attention to the ground as I should be, or my walk. So doing the ninja walk, like I said, I could do that out here today, but usually it's not a very good option for me. Here's some cactus. Another squirrel over there. Another little trail, looks kind of like a game trail. We used to have these all over this area, and they were cattle trails because people had run cattle in here. Probably not this far for many, many years, but just over the hill in Diamond Bar, until recently, they ran cattle in there, and it was a cattle ranch, of course. Diamond Bar was the brand. I think the only historic building left there in Diamond Bar is a windmill at the shopping center, or historic structure, I should say. And some of the old cattle fences are still up, and they used to have a cattle chute that was there. I haven't gone by to look at it, but it was pretty old. Probably not from the early days, but definitely when it was a working ranch. Well, we're getting close to the end of the trail. I did not find the flowers I was looking for. I think on the way back, after we get to the stables, I'm going to switch back to linear and do a one-handed hold on the way back to see how that works. And then we should be headed back home, unless something comes up. You know, I could see something or have an idea of someplace close by to go visit. Here's some of this, what we always called Indian tobacco, I believe, when I was growing up. Probably shouldn't get that close with this camera. And then this could be several different things. Some plants look so similar. Some edible plants look so similar to highly toxic plants. Oh, now that's where I should probably go up and explore. I think next time I come in here, that is where I'm going to go. Not so much in the little ravine, but I think the slopes might be a good place. Like I was saying, some of the edible plants look so much like toxic plants that probably not worth taking a chance unless you can positively identify them. Here we have somebody taking care of their horse. One of the tasks of equine husbandry. A little bit bigger to bathe than the dog. Okay, when we get past the corral, I'm going to be switching back to the linear. Should be a little bit wider angle lens, and I'll be handling it with one hand instead of two. Again, trying to find the best solution without getting a lens mod for the camera, which I have a feeling I'm going to end up doing because I do this sort of shoot so often these days that I may need it. Okay, here we go. Okay, I'm going to try this again. One of the things I find with the new GoPros, I often hit the wrong button accidentally when my hand goes behind the screen. So we're going to be headed back to the car. This is on the linear mode with horizontal stabilization, and we also have the hyper smooth boost on here. We're going to take a look here at the watershed, part of the watershed of this area. You can see the main stream, seasonal stream, goes off to the left, and then we have a smaller seasonal stream going off to the right. And there's a little trail here that's not used very much. Okay. And it's back to the car. So people are listening to their radio and chatting away. Like I was saying earlier, I didn't catch it on tape, or card, I guess, these days. We no longer use tape. Now this is classic riparian, California riparian habitat here, especially for an urban area or suburban area. There's some pretty flowers on that one, that bush. Nice grove of eucalyptus. Here's some more eucalyptus here, a little grove. These look fairly young, recently been planted. And then we come up to these wonderful old eucalyptus. These are great. They've been there for a while. They're quite majestic. I love eucalyptus trees. In the probably turn of the century of steam, a lot of eucalyptus groves were planted in California by the railroad companies, and they were going to use them for railroad ties, but found out they didn't make the best railroad ties. So some of those are still standing, but I imagine a lot of them have been taken out or have burned down or have just plain blown over. We get some pretty strong Santa Ana winds every year, which contribute to both fires and trees blowing over. Okay, let's keep on going. This is a single hand that I'm holding this with this time instead of two-handed. Yeah, little lizard, I almost stepped on him. That's why I can't do the ninja walk, because I'm paying attention to other things. As my grandma would say, hey, if it was a snake, it would have bit you. Which is probably true. We're parked in this parking lot down here, but I think we're going to go up and around to the far parking lot and come back. More wonderful eucalyptus trees. They just have beautiful bark. Here we are going under some eucalyptus flowers. Oh, that's pretty red bark on that one. Oh, and it looks like we're coming up to one in full bloom up here. Huh. Oh, this is pretty. And some bees getting the nectar. Oh, this is really a pretty one. Pretty tree. Pretty flowers. Don't know if I'm too close for that. And this is where I thought I would find those flowers I was looking for, in this area over here. Well, they aren't flowers yet, but they should be. There's some flowering eucalyptus up there. And I think there's a trail up this wash here, this gully or arroyo. And it looks like I'd like to go up there someday. It looks like there might be a little spring or something up there. You can see there's been some mass wasting of the land up here. In other words, a landslide. And that's the problem with these hills. If you build here, you have to be really careful about the soil, so your house doesn't end up in a gully. But all the houses up in here, they're all pretty stable, fairly wealthy area, so the people have enough resources to make sure the house is built properly. Here we go. The Anza connector. So if we kept going this way far enough, we'd hit Santa Cruz, San Francisco. But we're not going that far today. We're headed back to the car. Hi. Oh wow, look here. Look. You can see up towards San Gabriel Mountains. And the hills over here. Those are nice too. Some really nice places over there. I've had clients in that area. Here we are to another one of these trees. Here's some of the houses built on the side of a hill. I was living in a house not this much on a hill, but a little bit further up for about a year or so, not even a year, a few months. That didn't work out. It was a beautiful house. I do believe we will. I think that we can go down this way. Oh wow, that eucalyptus has some great bark now, doesn't it? Well, these plants are marked, so they must have some significance. I need to look them up. There are several in here. That one's a little different. Oh wow, this one is too. I wonder why it is. Here we have a pretty good view of this with some flower stock. Like I said, I don't know how close I can get to the subject before it goes out of focus with this camera. Here we're going to get on the asphalt, so it'll be a little bit more like a normal walk for me. Let's see what we have here as far as the bouncing. This is supposed to be a pretty good setting though. Okay, so that's it for today's little test and walk around the park. Out looking for flowers, looking at trees, taking in a little history, little geology. And that's it for today. I am wishing you the very best. Have a great day. Bye.